I'm Althea Brown. Most people know me as the MetMG lady or by my social media hashtags MetMG, and I share content around Guyanese recipes and just remixing some of those recipes to suit certain diet needs. So I started doing what I do in 2013. I created my blog as a hobby, just capturing my mom's recipes. I wanted to make what she makes exactly how she makes it every time, which is very hard because Guyanese people don't use recipes. So having that consistency in the output was important to me and figuring out how she did that. So when I'd ask her, for instance, how do you make roti? My mom would say, it's a handful of flour for one roti. Well, that's kind of inconsistent because your hand and my hand is not the same thing. And I was living in the US, newly married, had a new baby, and wanted my son to experience some of my culture through food, but I wanted the food to taste like the way my mom's food tasted. And I started recording these recipes and sharing them. My blog is called MetMG simply because I love MetMG, and it's one of my favorite things that my late grandmother made. And I thought to honor her and to honor my culture, I would name it MetMG. And also, it's kind of an inside secret because Guyanese people, when they see it, immediately know this got to be a Guyanese thing. And then other people, when they see it, immediately ask about it. So it's a real conversation starter. I didn't think that the cookbook I would have would be this cookbook, to be quite honest. When my blog got really popular, people kept asking me, can you put your recipes in a book? Like, I don't want to always have to go to the website for it. Can you put it in a book? And initially I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can put all of these Guyanese recipes in here and that'll be that. But as I sat down, I started to write this book. I was like, I really want this book to be an example and a representation of who I am as a person. Yes, I am Guyanese. Yes, I tell stories around Guyanese food and traditions, but I am also paleo. The way I eat is slightly different from the way that an average Guyanese person eats. Although I have to say, I often say that I'm paleo-ish, because I will eat a bowl of rice like there's nobody's business. And in the paleo diet, you stay away from things that cause inflammation. So you'll stay away from gluten, grains, including rice, legumes, and refined sugar. And so typically, that's how I eat because I have some food sensitivities. And when I eat this way, I feel my best self. However, Guyanese food does not necessarily fall into that. And so behind the scenes, I've been tweaking, I call it remixing, my Guyanese recipes to suit my diet. So for instance, when you're making stew, you would start with like burning some sugar, right? Well, in paleo, you can't do that because you can't have refined sugar. So I find a way to how can I tailor this recipe so I don't do that, but I make it still have all the components of a good Guyanese stew. And that's what this book is. My favorite thing in the book is my cassava flour potato roti. So it's really just a grain-free potato roti. One of the things that my mom makes that I love is potato roti. Hers are thin and it just has the right amount of potato filling. They never bust apart or pop open. They're just delicious. I have that recipe on my blog, like the regular traditional recipe, and I thought, hey, I need to figure out how to make this for myself. And when I nailed that recipe, it was like, hallelujah, ooh, I could have potato roti now and not feel sick. So that's my favorite one. There is fish stew, which is fish curry actually, which is my favorite. There's also a fish stew, which is also traditional. Like, those things don't really need a lot of tweaking. As they stand, they are paleo. And so I was so excited to put those in the book and say, I know you guys are gonna be like, what is paleo? But some of the things that we make are paleo. There are recipes on how to make a curry paste. Everybody, when they're making curry, they make this paste, they add their stuff. I make the paste, I stick it in the freezer in ice cubes, or I stick it in the fridge, and then whenever I want curry, I put a tablespoon or two in a pan and I add my protein and I have curry. So there are lots of foundational recipes that'll teach you how to do things like that, that really just helps you to get a head start on making a meal for your family. So the process of writing the book, going through edits, photographing, cooking, prepping, cooking again, photographing, editing, all of that took about 1.5 years. So a lot of work went into this book. And I always say to people, the recipes in this book, I've made them so many times. So it's not that, oh, I made it once, it came out great, I put it in the book. I made it once, I made it again, I measured it, I tested it, photographed it. So when you get it, it's solid, you know it's gonna work, you know it's gonna be something that's really good. I'm here for the launch of the book, the launch of the cookbook tour. it is a full circle moment for me, like just bringing this book home as a little girl who grew up in Camberville, who like went to Bishop's and had all these hopes and dreams of becoming a lawyer, and then moved away from that to becoming this food content creator. To bring it home and say, here's this thing that I created, not just for me, but for us, and to help to elevate Guyanese food and put it on a world stage, feels fantastic and amazing to just come home and celebrate it. And I hope that people can come to the launch and celebrate with me. It's on Wednesday, September 6th, which I always have to say is also my birthday. So I feel really like a double celebration, and just share the book with everyone.